What's up, Internet? Coach Denny here, and today is my reaction to Allen Thrall's reaction to Will Ratelle's reaction to Angus Bradley's reaction to probably somebody else's reaction, all about whether or not you should use RPE, is it worth it, or percentage-based. RPE is rate of perceived exertion. My general take is I'm going to say RPE is mostly trash. Most people don't need it, but it does have its place in certain contexts. So I'm going to also illustrate this a little bit through my workout. So I'm going to hit this first warm-up set. I'm going to tell you about my rate of perceived exertion. Oh, who set up this rack? It's too low. It's all right. We'll deal with it. All right, so that was my first warm-up set. I only have 3 sets today. I probably should have done this on a higher volume day, but that's okay. I'm going to add a 4th set for illustration purposes. But the bench program I'm on right now does not require, it's a percentage-based program, does not require extensive warm-up. I came in here, I shot baskets for literally like 5 minutes, and now I'm just starting. But regardless if I did a long warm-up or not, my first warm-up set always feels like trash. It always feels kind of hard, right? So what is my rate of perceived exertion on that? If you're a beginner, you might think, well, shit, that was kind of hard. I got a little tailbone thing going on, so if I'm fidgeting, bear with me. Yeah, if I'm a beginner, I'm thinking, that was kind of hard. Most beginners don't need rate of perceived exertion because everything feels kind of hard. They have no way to assess what really is 80%, 70%, whatever percent you want them to do. Beginners just need to go harder than last time, like Greg Doucette. They need to be on a linear progression. Now, if you're advanced, then, or even intermediate. So you go through beginner phase, you're on a linear progression, eventually you test your 1 rep max. It's between you and your coach when you do that. 6 months, 1 year, whatever. Your coach will figure that out for you. Maybe even a 5 rep max. Eventually you know your max, and eventually you hit that plateau of the linear progression, and you should get onto a percentage-based program, okay? So if you know your percentages, why would you not use that? It's gonna be more precise than rate of perceived exertion. It's gonna be mentally easier as well. This is the best bench program I've maybe ever been on. It's a Plan Strong program from Strong First. And it's different than anything I would have ever programmed for myself. I would say most of the time it feels pretty easy. And if you've listened to Pavel and you know his philosophy, he's a big believer in greasing the groove, consistency, frequency at that 70 to 80% range. You know, Dan, John, and him have that saying is like, you know, never fail a rep, never even struggle. And it's kind of like that. So if my philosophy is never fail a rep, never even struggle, then if I was just going off of perceived exertion, I'd always be searching for something a little bit easy. But with percentages, it just gives me a number to hit that theoretically should be possible. And I'm in week 7 of an 8-week program, and I haven't missed a rep, and I haven't really struggled. Even at 93% the other day, I think I hit 252 pounds or something like that, which was a prior max. I'm not the strongest bencher in the world. It's not something I've given a lot of time to. My main sport is triathlon. It's pretty strong for a triathlete. And I think if I stick with this for the year, I think I can hit 300, 315. The progression is showing. We'll be testing in a week, so we'll see. I did hit 265 earlier in the year just off of Dan John's easy strength. So it's the same philosophy now, I just took it into a more structured program. Easy strength is technically a rate of perceived exertion, but again, it's I did that with an educated guess. I did that with the philosophy of just kind of hit some reps, like again, never struggle, never fail a rep, and it worked pretty well, but ultimately it left something to be desired, which is why I'm on this percentage-based program. So again, I just think percentages are better. And I'm gonna prove why in this set. Well, not this set, but in this section. Oop. All right, so next set is 3. Okay, so 2 things about that set right there. That jump from 145 to 175 is only a 10% jump. So it went from 55% to 65%. Most people aren't gonna do that math right in their head, right? It seems like if I'm making a 10% jump, based off of your 1 rep max, that is. But if you were trying to think it through, in an instant, you wouldn't probably jump from 145 to 175. I wouldn't. You'd think, all right, maybe go to 155, maybe go to 165. 175 feels like a big jump. And it kind of is, but also that set felt exactly the same as 145. So what's the difference in rate of perceived exertion there? There was none. Actually, it felt a little bit better because it's my second set. And warm-up sets tend to feel better, okay? So here's how I coach it. If you're a beginner, by the way, guys, I do my coaching through VShred. I know, people are gonna lose their minds. There's actually good coaching in VShred, in the VIP app, okay? And so the vast majority of my clients are beginners. Let's put that out there. But I have coached some advanced athletes in there. The guy, Sam, he was 55, I think, and came into the program just looking to kind of get toned, and he loved bench press. Me being a coach, encouraged him to take on the squat and the deadlift, and ultimately we shift his entire mindset about training, for, where it's not just something necessarily you do as, well, it's a hobby, but like just the importance of having a goal. So we'll talk about it at the end, like the importance of having a goal and bringing a little bit more meaning to your training versus just trying to be the strongest bencher in the gym. That's cool, but like putting some standards on it, on the movement. Anyway, long story short, he ended up setting state records at a local powerlifting competition through my coaching. He benched 335, deadlifted 500, and squatted, I think, like low threes. He hadn't squat really before we even started working together, so that was his weakness. He also had an injury in the past, like a motorcycle accident, I think, and had some like plastic insertions in his whatever. He had some limitations there, but not to say he can't advance on that. But yeah, I mean, benching 335 and squatting and deadlifting 500. He never deadlifted either, by the way, before we started working together. He's naturally a really strong dude. But there is some pretty advanced coaching that can happen in the VIP app at VShred. And I know this is, people are like, what? I've never heard of this. I thought VShred was supplements and ab exercises. And maybe it is for a lot of people, but there's like tiers to VShred, and there's just like most of the stuff you see through the ads, buy the supplement, buy this ab program. But if you kind of enter into the sphere and go down the rabbit hole, there's actually an elite tier where you get assigned a coach and in an app, and you can get a tailored program for whatever your goal is. I've had a woman who previously ran marathons. She got back into it. We rehabbed her injuries, got her feeling good for running again. We worked together for about a year. She went and redid the Chicago Marathon. I gave her a marathon training plan for that, and she shaved an hour off her marathon time. Help people with triathlons, powerlifting, all sorts of goals. A lot of guys are just older and want to be able to ski again, helping people go out and be able to actually ski all day. Okay, so I'm getting off topic, but most of the people I coach in the VShred VIP app are just looking for physique, for body transformation, working out in the gym. I have them some mix of machines and free weights. And the one thing our app is really good at is tracking your total tonnage. So it does all the math for you. So when you do a workout, you record your reps, sets, weights. It's leg day, you go through all of your exercises, record all your weights. At the end, you hit complete workout, and it tells you lifted 7,000 pounds today, or whatever it is. And so that's how at least I coach progressive overload and linear progression in the VIP app for most people, is we just pay attention to that total tonnage, comparing workout to workout, and then we can look at it across the week as well. And I recommend anything from a 1 to 5% weekly increase in that tonnage. You can get it in any way you want. Generally, I tell people, like, try and be stronger in the main lifts. That becomes pretty intuitive, you know, if they're doing leg press, squats, whatever. Those are the areas you want to see improve. It's not any big revelation, but they have an opportunity to improve their score, their tonnage score, however they want to go about it. They always have an optional AMRAP set, whether it's for squats, for leg press, for leg curls, for leg extension, whatever it is. And as long as they hit that AMRAP set, in theory, it's just a choice whether or not you improve your total tonnage this week compared to last week. So it's really just a choice to go harder than last time. That 1 to 5%, so if you do, I think it's if you do, I might get this math wrong, but if you do a 5% weekly increase, so on each workout, like that compound interest. Let's just talk about leg day. You lift 4,000 pounds on day 1, week 1 leg day, day 1, week 2 leg day. You increase that by 5%, and then you increase 5% the next week. Over that, it only takes like 14 weeks to literally double that total tonnage, that work output. That's how compound interest works. It adds up really quick. So I always say 5's aggressive, but if you're a beginner, it might be doable. I think it's like 1%-ish, a little over 1%, you would double in a year. So you guys should really learn about compound interest. I think most people like a 3% weekly increase in tonnage is probably pretty reasonable and pretty profound in how much progress you can make in pretty short amount of time, in some months. All right, let's load up this next set. So this plan I'm on gives very specific numbered targets. I normally wouldn't use change plates, not traditionally, not something I would think matters, but since I got the plan, we're gonna stick to it. I say that, but I'm actually gonna go off plan today just as a demonstration purposes. So this is supposed to be my last set of 4. Today is just a very low volume, kind of just like a tune-up day. that felt a little bit harder than the last 2 sets, but not crazy. The bar speed didn't really slow down much. My butt maybe lifted off. I'm using more low body. Felt maybe a little bit more tension in the pecs, but how do you judge? And I've been doing this for a long time. You know, who's to be the judge? Was that RPE 8? Was the last one RPE 8? Probably not either. So beginners, RPE is just do more. Just go do more than last time. Go harder than last time. Eventually, you have your percentages, and I recommend getting on a plan that uses percentages. Now, I think the argument for that, maybe it was Angus, whoever, one of these guys, they all have their commentary on it, in support of RPE is like, well, some days your percentages aren't going to match the intended stimulus. Like 80% is going to feel like 100%. My stance on that is why? Why? Because this program, 80%, has been feeling easy for me, right? So what's going on in your training that 80% feels like 100%? I get it. Okay, if that circumstance comes up and you want to make an adjustment on the fly, cool, but I would take a step back and look at it. What is going on in my programming that 80% feels like 100%, and I need to make an adjustment today? There's an issue there, okay? It shouldn't feel like that. Either one of two things. Either your total training tonnage, that concept we talked about, everything else is building up so much fatigue that it's impacting this main lift, which, depending on your goal, probably an issue. And problem number 2, which whatever the root cause is, your percentages are wrong. Okay, your percentages are wrong. Either you're working off too heavy of a 1 rep max, maybe it was just this fluke lifetime PR that you hit that a while ago that you shouldn't be using, or you just so happen to hit it in a completely different program that compared to what you're on now, and it doesn't make sense to use that. So adjust your damn percentages so that way you can stick to it and you're not guessing. But if bench is your main thing, for example, and the rest of your program is impeding on that, make an adjustment. So there's something wrong with your program there. So you got to remember your goal, and I think this is where RPE has its place, and I look at it more on a session to session and like a recovery basis. So let's do something here real quick. This is going to be my demonstration. And maybe this will be a cool illustration, maybe not, I don't know. But, I did 145 for my warm-up. Felt kind of trash. I'm going to do it again now after just 3 ramp-up sets. I mean, some of these sessions I have 11 sets. And that's going to be even a more profound response. But after just 3 warm-up sets, let's see how this feels. Yeah, it literally feels so light. Same weight. 4 sets later. Completely different rate of perceived exertion. So that's one cool thing about Pavel's programming that I really like. I really wish I could take his course at some point to get into the finer details of exactly how he's making the decisions. But basically what it is a wave loading program. It's wave loading intra-workout, and it's wave loading in the bigger micro and macro cycles. And basically what that means is, today would have been the exception, but it's kind of what that's why I did that last set, just to illustrate. Usually what you're doing is ramping up to maybe 85%, then you're dropping back down to like 70% for a set. Then you ramp up, then you drop down. And so the percentages are going up and down within the workout. And it's really neat because Andy, you end up feeling much stronger on those ramp down, those drop sets. So you get higher quality reps than you did with just straight build up. It also allows you to do more sets with some work in between. So like you go up to 85%, drop to 75. It's still good. It's still a good quality set that counts for something. And then you go up to 90%. And you got a little bit extra recovery from that 75%, so the 90% still goes well. And then it fluctuates throughout the week too. So you might do 11 sets on Monday, 3 sets on Wednesday, 6 sets on Friday, and it's just gonna be all over the place. Now he's got this whole algorithm. I don't have the exact details. I wish I did. But that's the idea. But so the thing is like when you're training like that on that wave loading, the rate of perceived exertion is changing constantly. There's constantly. So it doesn't make sense. Like there'd be no way to do this off of perception. You just have to follow the percentages. So that's my pitch there. But where it can come in handy is like when you are feeling like trash. When I'm coaching a client and they're like, dude, I'm feeling beat up or this nagging injury or whatever, I don't want them to, sometimes it's like, if it's real bad, it's like you just take a day off. But sometimes, most of the time I want them to still get in the gym. And it's like, okay, today, rather than going harder than last time, I just want you to go in there, pick weights that feel reasonably challenging, but that you feel good about. Like you feel like you're doing something, but you don't feel like you're gonna beat yourself up. Period. Like just kind of go in and do some good work. That's a perception. That's up to them. I don't put a number on it. You know, RPE 7, RPE 8. It's meaningless. So like just do something you feel good about, that you're not stressed about, that you don't think is going to beat the shit out of you. Get some blood flowing and come back the next time and feel better and go harder than last time. Now, if there's something going on chronically, like I said, you're always missing your lifts or you got this injury, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate your goals and your program. You can have this perfect program on paper, but if your body is not responding to it, then you got to make an adjustment. That's what I'm going through right now. My hips are trash. I feel like crap. A little bit of high hamstring pain. My primary goal is sprint triathlon. It's going to require some running, some cycling. If I have hamstring tendonitis, that's not going to go very well for me. I've got practically a year to get ahead of this thing. So even though I really want to do 3 weeks of power cleans right now, maybe I need to take a step back, even though on paper I think it's just brilliant for my goals. Maybe I need to step back and fix the pain first, which is what I'm going to do. And that's where, you know, I'm going to get into some isometrics, some eccentrics, maybe even do some Joel Seedman stuff, right? What? Joel Seedman? This guy, VShred, Joel Seedman, what? Like, look, I mean, I'm not competing in powerlifting. Depth doesn't matter to me. The numbers don't really, it's a great protocol actually for fixing tendons. Eccentrics and isometrics are like what fix tendons. So yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. Like if you're a beginner, go harder until you plateau, then learn your percentages, then get on a percentage-based program. If you're missing reps at low percent, you shouldn't miss ever under 95%. If you are, then there's probably just something off with your percentages or off with your program, and fix that. All right, y'all, that's what I got. Peace.